Hello guys and welcome to today's video. In this video I'm going to talk about the 6 best investments that you can invest $1,000 into today and basically keep for the rest of your life without having to worry about a thing, because these investments will just keep on making you more and more money. I will also give you a breakdown of what these stocks are, why I like them, why I picked them, and some details about them. But this is by no means going to be some crazy in-depth stock analysis video. It is going to be very simple and easy to follow along, especially if you, like me, are an investor who doesn't like to take on a huge amount of risk when investing. With all of that being said, then here is my top list of investments that I would invest into today if I had $1,000 available. So let's start with stock number 6. The number 6 stock on my list is going to be Amazon. Amazon is a technology company with a heavy focus on e-commerce, cloud computing, digital streaming, and artificial intelligence. It has been referred to as one of the most influential economic and cultural forces in the world, and it is one of the most valuable brands. I think that I speak for everyone when I say that Amazon have changed our lives. They have more than 1.6 million employees, and in 2021 they had a revenue of $469.8 billion, and they are currently worth more than $1.2 trillion. But let's have a look at the charts for Amazon. Based on the chart, well, then we do see that Amazon have experienced a really impressive growth over the last 10 years. If we look a couple of years back when the COVID-19 pandemic came, then we actually saw Amazon increase by more than 70%. And lastly, if we look at the returns for Amazon year to date, well, then we basically see that Amazon is down by more than 28%. For me personally, well, then I do see this as a really good buying opportunity, and I'm actually at the moment dollar cost averaging into Amazon. However, I'm actually not the only one thinking that buying Amazon right now could potentially be a good idea. According to Morningstar, well, then Amazon is currently trading just below fair value, which actually means that you can buy Amazon at a discount right now. And that is often indicating that it could potentially be a good time to buy. The 5th company on my list is going to be Johnson & Johnson. Now, Johnson & Johnson is a pharmaceutical company and arguably one of the biggest within the entire healthcare industry. Companies like Johnson & Johnson, what they can do really well in times of high uncertainty, such as it is today, and that is because no matter the economic conditions, well, then people always need to buy their medicine. And that means that companies like Johnson & Johnson, they always have a good cash flow. And that is exactly what investors want, and that makes them really attractive. This company is also one of the oldest dividend aristocrats in the world. And if you were to ask 10 different dividend investors about their top 5 picks, well, then chances are that Johnson & Johnson is gonna be on their list. And the reason for that is because Johnson & Johnson is known as a dividend aristocrat, which basically means that they have been paying dividends for the last 25 years in a row without any stopping or interruptions. And this company has actually not only done that for 25 years, but for 59 years. Just try to imagine everything that has been going on for the last 59 years, and then having a company like Johnson & Johnson that had gone through all of that and continue to pay their investors dividends every single year without any interruptions. That is absolutely insane to think about. I have personally owned this stock since 2016, and it has been a powerhouse of dividend income ever since. When looking at the share price, well, then we do see that the year to date is up by only 0.34%. According to Morningstar, well, then Johnson & Johnson is currently trading at fair value. And that means that you are not getting a discount, but you're also not paying a premium. You are essentially paying what it's worth. It is very rare to find companies of this quality trading at a discount. So just keep that in mind if you are considering to buy. The 4th company on my list is going to be a company that you most likely know of, and that is Microsoft. Microsoft is a company that, among many other things, are developing and providing support for different softwares, services, devices, and giving IT solutions. Microsoft had in 2021 a revenue of $168 billion, and they are close to a market value of $2 trillion. It is one of the biggest and most reliable companies there is within the tech sector. They have developed so many products, and they have basically changed the way in which we do things on a daily basis. And somehow they just keep on coming with more and more every single year. Microsoft was actually one of my first investments back in 2015, and I don't plan on selling this stock anytime soon. When looking at the price chart for Microsoft, well then we basically see that year to date it is down by 22%. Even though that seems like a lot, well then it's actually still below the industry average that is much closer to minus 30% year to date. According to Morningstar, well then Microsoft is basically trading at fair value. And that means you're not getting a discount and you're also not paying a premium. You're basically paying what it's worth. According to other sites like TradingView, well then Microsoft is actually rated to be a strong buy. The third company on my list is gonna be Coca Cola. Not only is Coca Cola one of Warren Buffett's favorite drinks, but it is also one of his favorite investments of all time. Coca Cola is much like Johnson & Johnson for me. It is a staple. Coca Cola is more than 130 years old, and just like Johnson & Johnson, well then Coca Cola is also a dividend aristocrat. And they have been paying dividends for the last 58 years in a row without any interruptions. Coca Cola is by no means a growth stock. It is a really slow and steady growing investment, but it is an investment that is worth having in any stock portfolio. When looking at the 5-year graph, we can see Coca-Cola being up by 33.86%, and you can basically see on the graph that the company has a very slow and steady growth rate. And according to Morningstar, well then Coca-Cola is currently trading at fair value. Over time, Coca-Cola just makes people money, and I can almost guarantee you that if you were to invest in Coca-Cola today, and go to sleep for the next 20 years and then wake up, well then will your investment increase in value by the time you wake up. It is in fact really hard to go wrong with Coca-Cola. The second stock on my list is going to be Apple. Apple is the most valuable brand in the world, and it also happens to be one of my all-time favorite investments. Apple was actually the first company in the world to reach a market value of $3 trillion, which it did back in January 2022. I'm not even going to be talking about what they're producing or who they are. They have a really strong brand and everyone knows about Apple. It is the highest valued brand in the entire world. It is not only one of my all-time favorite investments, but also one of Warren Buffett's personal favorite, as he owns more than 5% of Apple and have been an Apple investor for many years now. Apple is down by 15% year to date, and that is much less than the average tech company that is now down by 28% in the US. When looking at the 5-year chart, we see that Apple having gained 312% return. They are really not supposed to be growing at these rates anymore, but somehow they just keep on impressing the world every single year. They also started paying dividends 9 years ago, and they have been really consistent with it, and they haven't stopped a single time. If diversification wasn't a thing, well then I would be very tempted to put all of my $1,000 into Apple. However, that is simply way too risky. But Apple is actually still one of my top positions. And now for the last investment on my list, the number one investment. And that is VOO, and here's why. When you first start investing, you will most likely make the same mistakes as I did, and the same mistakes as many others did. You will try to look for the companies with the highest growth potential, find the best investment strategy, and try to read everything you can about when to sell, when to buy, and so on. After having spent a lot of time doing that, you basically realize that you haven't gained any money from doing it. And that is when you start to realize the true potential of investments like VOO. It is, in my opinion, the best investment you can make, and it is something that I'm buying every single month. When you're buying VOO, also called the Vanguard S&P 500 Index, well then you're basically buying a small proportion of every single company that there is within the S&P 500 Index. This index contains the 500 largest publicly traded companies within the US. So when you're buying this index, well then you're basically getting the diversification benefits of having 500 companies within your stock portfolio. Not only will this investment give you all of the diversification that you actually need, but this investment has also increased by more than 8% on average for the last 40 years in a row. This index is my biggest investment, and it will continue to be so. If you don't already own this index fund, well then I would highly encourage you to look more into it and see if this is something for you. That was all I had in today's video. Thank you for watching the video. If you liked the video, then please press the like button below and make sure to subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like this one in the future. See you in the next one.